Hi guys and welcome to Crazy Burger. So in this video we're going to be looking at 12 Evercade games that are really not suitable for younger kids. Now the majority of games on Evercade are pretty much family friendly. There's very few that are not suitable for most sort of kids, adults, the like. But in this video I'm going to be highlighting some games that really are not suitable for younger kids due to violence, sort of horror themes and maybe even some swearing in there as well. Yet believe it or not, there are some games on Evercade that are probably more adult themed and definitely not suitable for the younger generation. Now by that I really mean kids that are probably 8, 7 and under. Obviously what games you let your kids play is entirely up to you, so I'm not going to judge. But in this video I'm going to be looking at 12 games I would not recommend to a younger generation. So without further ado, let's have a look at those games. Okay, so the first game is Splatter House 2. Now it's pretty obvious, going by the name, the theme and the horror theming, it really is not meant for kids at all. Now teenagers and above, absolutely fine, there's nothing that bad in it, but obviously you look at, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of violence, the theming is very horror related, so it's really not meant for younger kids, especially those maybe 8 and under I would say. But some won't mind, but some, it might give them nightmares, I don't know, it's going to vary from individual, but probably not meant for the younger generation, definitely not. So obviously if we've got Splatterhouse 2, we really have to include Splatterhouse 3 as well. Even though the game style is very, very different, it's more like a scrolling beat 'em up and you've got the option to go through different pathways through the levels, but the theming is exactly the same. It's a horror theming, there's a lot of sort of violence, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of sort of monsters and gore, that sort of thing, so it is very similar, so it would not suit the same sort of age bracket I guess as Splatterhouse 2, which would be I guess 8 and under for me, or 7 and under, round about that. Anything above that, it really is absolutely fine, it's not that bad, but I really wouldn't let the younger generation listen to that. It might give them nightmares, although they might love it, you never know, but I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so next up is Deus on the Indie Heroes Collection 1. Now don't be fooled, it does look like a very innocent sort of kid-friendly game, but immediately you're told this game contains themes that may be disturbing for some players. Now there's not a lot of blood or gore, obviously it's a very black and white game. I think this is a Game Boy game. But the theming is very, very dark. It starts off okay enough. Obviously you've got your young boy there that's having a nightmare. It's been visited by some kind of demon that's telling him he needs to do something within the next 3 days or he's going to basically run havoc upon the earth. And that's basically the setting of it. It starts off simple enough, but eventually once you open up the plot, and I'm not going to ruin it here, it gets very, very, very dark, and it's pretty gruesome. You do a lot of things that really are not suitable for younger kids at all. Now there's no violence, I don't really remember there being a lot of swearing in the game either. It's really all about that theming that is pretty dark. I don't think you would feel very comfortable letting your young child play this game at all. But on the face of it you probably wouldn't know. It looks like a very cutesy style sort of RPG style game, but don't be fooled, it's very dark. I'm pretty sure this game was rated an 18 at the time, which might be a bit too far. I mean, it's got some violence and horror themes, but 18 is probably a bit too far. I'd probably say maybe 12 and above is absolutely fine for this one. So next up is Quest to Rest. This is also on Indie Heroes Collection 1. Now don't be fooled, much like Deus, it does look like a very cutesy RPG, and for the best part it actually is totally fine for most. Unfortunately there are some unnecessary language within the text in the game, and it took me by surprise when I was playing through it. I did not expect it at all. It sometimes throws some words in there that really don't even feel that appropriate. It doesn't even need it. Like this, obviously we've got this bitch on the screen, it just doesn't make any sense. You could have this game without this language at all, because the rest of the game is absolutely fine, and on the odd occasion it does throw other swear words at you as well, and for me this would not be appropriate for younger kids, especially 8 and under. Now it's up to you what you let your kids play again, but for me I would not be too happy giving this to younger kids. It's just not appropriate at all. So next up it's Tanzer. This is from Mega Cat Collection 1. And this is on most folks' list, I guess, is one of the best games on Evercade, and quite rightly so. It's an excellent title, but as you can see here, it's got a little bit of violence, it's got some blood here and there, but for the best part it's absolutely fine. It's just some of the sort of theming is a little bit questionable, and I don't think I would feel that comfortable letting sort of younger kids play it, and by younger I probably mean like 7 and under. Anything over that is absolutely fine. It's not really that bad. It's just some of the things that you can do, like you can pop the heads and some of the enemies here, it just looks a little bit strange. They might love it, I guess, but some of the theming in the bosses is weird as well. It just looks a little bit inappropriate for younger viewers. Now just a little bit of tongue in cheek here, this is Tumble Pop, and obviously this is a very cutesy game. However, there's an option on one of the buttons, button B, where you can suck and blow, which for me seems completely inappropriate for younger kids. I'm just having a laugh, obviously. Let's have a look at some other games. Okay, so this is Thunderhoot from Gatelco Arcade 1. Now, this game isn't actually that bad at all. However, some of the bosses are very gruesome indeed. Once you've defeated them, they seem to explode in a ball of blood, which really isn't that appropriate for younger kids. Now, the game in a whole isn't actually that bad, it's totally fine, but this moment especially, it's pretty bad. So we also should have Thunderhoot 2, which is on Gatelco Arcade 2 Collection. I'd say this game is probably a little bit more gruesome. It's more, say, action-packed than the first game. I probably prefer this one. It's a little bit more enjoyable to actually play through. But it does seem that there's probably a lot more blood, and the graphics are a little bit more intense in the second game, which means it's probably even more appropriate than the first one, and definitely not for younger players at all. So next up is Sword of Sodan, which could also be titled as one of the worst games on Evercade, although I know a lot of people do like it. It does seem a little bit strange. It's one of those games you think it might be nice. There's a bird tweeting in the background for some reason, no apparent reason, I don't know what that's all about, but it is a little bit inappropriate. There's a lot of blood, there's a lot of violence, and you do tend to stab the enemies right into the groinal region for some reason as well once you kneel down. But yeah, there's a lot of blood, it's a bit violent. It's not the worst, but it's really not meant for the younger kids. It's not really meant for anybody because it's absolutely awful, but I know some people do actually quite enjoy this game. So next up it's Citadel Remonstered from the Home Computer Collection, and it's just a typical First person shooter. It is a bit violent, there's a lot of blood here and there, there's a lot of maybe scary monsters as well. It might actually make you a little bit scared when you're playing it. I know it's probably not ideal for your younger generation, and there might even be people that might not enjoy playing this type of game anyway. It might be a bit too scary, I don't know, might make you jump. If you don't like that type of game, then you're probably not going to enjoy it at all. And yeah, it's probably, I guess, for those ages 7 and above, I would say.
Those alien bastards are gonna pay for shooting up my ride.
Now this is Duke Nukem 3D from Duke Nukem Collection 1. I think it goes without saying this was definitely aimed at a maturer audience back in the day. Teenagers, 20-something, now 30-something, now even 40 and 50-somethings that this would probably attract. It's got questionable language, it's got some swearing, it's got some questionable sexual innuendo, lots of silliness, it's violent, it's got blood. I mean, it's not the worst at the end of the day. I would say definitely for 13, 14, 15 and above, that type of thing. And definitely don't let your kids anywhere near it. It's really completely inappropriate. Some really childish stuff that I guess us adults love to mess about with, and it's kind of funny, but yeah, it's definitely not for kids, as you can see, but it's still pretty tame, I guess.
Don't have time to play with myself. Yeah, piece of cake.
Okay, on to the Duke Nukem Collection 2, and included next are Time to Kill and Land of the Babes. Both are pretty similar, they're violent, they've got lots of blood, and yeah, lots of sexual innuendo, lots of very inappropriate language and behaviours in the game, which really don't hold up that well to these standard times, I guess. It probably was fine back in the 90s, no one really bothered, but it does seem a little bit questionable now, and it's 100% not suitable for younger kids. Perfect for teenagers, they'll lap it up, I guess, but definitely keep your younger kids away from these games completely.
What's up?
Oh, Duke, you're so big.
It looks like she gave a good fight. What the? That looks pretty sturdy.
Thanks, Duke.
Okay guys, so that's basically all the games I think are completely inappropriate for a sort of younger audience out there. I think overall, most of the games on Evercade are completely family friendly, there's no big deal. If you think there's a game or two that I have not included in this video and it should be here, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.
Give me some sugar.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Laura, is that you? much better.